Hello all, this is Kujtim HAMELI and today I'm going to make the presentation of our paper with Associate.Prof.Dr. Dr. Ibrahim YALÇIN. Our topic is a study on the role of job burnout on the relationship between perceived instrumental climate and turnover intention. So let me start. First, I will make a very short introduction about our topic. Then again, shortly, I will make a summary of literature review. I will jump at methodology and then I will discuss findings and make finally a conclusion. So what is the aim of our paper? The aim of our paper is to investigate the relationship between perceived instrumental climate, job burnout, and turnover intention. Well, in detail, we try to investigate the role of emotional exhaustion, which is a component of job burnout, as a moderator on this relationship that between perceived instrumental climate and turnover intention. And let's check shortly what are these concepts. So, what is instrumental ethical climate? Is a component of the organizational ethical climate, and organizational climate is defined as psychological and meaningful moral descriptions that people agree on practices and procedures of a system. Meanwhile, the instrumental ethical climate as a component of this organizational climate is defined as a as the need of employees to take care of themselves and their interests, regardless their relationships with other employees or obligations they have within the company and in society in general. So in this case, employees seek to achieve personal goals such as benefits and pay using the organization as an instrument. Job burnout is defined as a continual reaction to persistent emotional and interpersonal stressors at work and is characterized by three dimensions of exhaustion, cynicism, and efficacy. In shortly, exhaustion is related to the feelings of being afflicted and drained of physical and emotional resources of an employee, while the cynicism or depersonality is related to a negative, apathetic, or unreasonable reaction to different facets of the job. And the last one, the inefficiency aspect, is related to self-assessment and it has to do with the inability feelings followed by a lack of accomplishment and work efficiency. Turnover, which is an extensively studied topic, we already know that is the rate at which employees leave the firm. So it's a permanent movement of employees beyond the boundary of the firm. After we established the relationship between these three variables, we came up with three hypotheses. Our first hypothesis is that perceived instrumental climate has a positive impact on turnover intention. Our second hypothesis is that emotional exhaustion has a positive impact on turnover intention, while here emotional exhaustion as a component of job burnout. We were focused only on this component and we didn't include the two others as we thought, and we find that this is the main component of this variable and it has the greatest impact on turnover intention. So the effect of two other variables were not included. And our third hypothesis is emotional exhaustion will strengthen the relationship between perceived instrumental climate and turnover intention. And this is our research model. So perceived instrumental climate has an effect on turnover intention, but we suggest that this effect will be strengthened by emotional exhaustion. So in order to test this model, we conducted a survey in Kosovo with employees from private sector. Using convenient and snowball sample, we shared the questionnaire across Facebook groups and asked people to share the link to their friends. So, and the survey, our data is related only to the people who could reach the link, and in total 226 employees participated. Perceived instrumental climate was assessed using 6 items developed by Wang and Xia. Emotional exhaustion was measured using 9 items proposed by Maslach and Jackson, which are the most known scholars on this topic, and turnover intention was measured with three items proposed by Mobley, and these items are extensively used in literature. So all responses were coded on a 5-point Likert scale ranging from 1 strongly agree to strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree. Here we reported some descriptive data related to the sample. 56% of the participants were male. Most of them were at the age of 20 to 29 years. And there were different employees from different departments and different positions in the company. We also gave some data related to job tenure, education, and income. So before starting with hypothesis testing, we conducted a confirmatory factor analysis to test our model, and the data reported good model fit. We only had to extract or delete one item from the emotional exhaustion, that was the item E8, and the data reported in this table that check the fit of the model are all beyond the threshold or recommended values. As you can see in this table, the chi-square values and the CFA, SR, MR, RM, CEA, and P-close, all these statistics are greater than the threshold. So we concluded that the discriminant and convergent validity of the scale are high, and all the AV values were greater than 50. Also, the reliability of our scale was higher, as all alpha coefficients were greater than 70, and this shows that our scale is valid and reliable at the same time. Okay, so after that we did some correlation between variables, and the three main variables, they correlated at high degree with each other, and they had actually some negative relationships with demographics. Finally, we did the hypothesis testing using path analysis, and this is our model we tested. First, we checked the effect of perceived instrumental climate on turnover intention, and the estimated regression weight was 0.23, and this was significant. So we supported our first hypothesis, perceived instrumental climate as a component of organizational climate, a negative component, while the other fourth component of organizational climate were positive components, and we didn't include in this paper, but we only wanted to check this negative effect on turnover intention. So yes, it has an effect, and this effect is mediated effect. Then we checked the effect of emotional exhaustion on turnover intention, and this effect were greater than the effect of perceived instrumental climate, is 0.59, and it still is significant. So we also supported our second hypothesis, but our data failed to support our last hypothesis, where we checked the moderation of effect of emotional exhaustion and the relationship between perceived instrumental climate and turnover intention. The regression weight was very low, and at the same time it was not significant. So our third hypothesis was not supported. As a conclusion, we were able to test the positive effect of perceived instrumental climate on turnover intention, and also the positive and strong effect of emotional exhaustion on the turnover intention. But however, the results didn't confirm the moderating role of emotional exhaustion on this relationship, and so it's not a moderator of this relationship, and we suggest that emotional exhaustion can be a mediator of this relationship. It's not a moderator, as our data didn't support such a thing. So perceived instrumental climate, it has a direct effect on a turnover intention, but it also may have a greater indirect effect on turnover intentions through the mediating of emotional exhaustion. In general, this was the idea of our paper, that we tried to test through the research, and that is all. Thank you for your attention, and goodbye.